start taking your seats. We're going to continue. You know how a lot of people make bucket lists of things they want to do before they die? And you know how a lot of people don't achieve these, considering they're full of crazy things like wrestling an alligator, winning the lottery, or free falling out of an airplane? Well, if you're a Boyson and you set your mind to something, there's no backing down. Here to tell you more about his leap of faith is Brayden Boyson.
So I'm sitting here, faced with my decision. It is clear as day, no clouds, and a good 5,000 feet between me and the ground. My legs are dangling out, and they feel like they're about to be sucked out from under me. The instructor yells into my ear, "Ready?" My head gets tilted back, my thumbs get placed into the straps, so don't grab onto the airplane when we fall out. 1, 2, 3. So, as some of you may have already guessed, my senior project had something to do with falling out of a perfectly good airplane. Pursuing new life experiences through skydiving, which is what I did. I wanted to do something fun and exciting. I mean, have you ever met someone that said they took a class in high school that let them go skydiving? But my project was really separated into 2 equal parts, the skydiving and my service piece. For the skydiving, I completed a tandem jump, which is where I jumped out of an airplane with an instructor hooked to the back of me. And on May 21st, I will be completing the first level of the accelerated freefall course, which is where I will be jumping out with 2 instructors next to me. And then the other half was my service piece, which was where I did a wrestling clinic for kids 3rd through 8th grade. When I started, I was asked to choose a mentor, and I instantly knew who I wanted. He was a family friend, and I had heard many stories about his skydiving past. I knew that Mr. Thaddeus Glenn would be the perfect fit for my project. His passion for skydiving and his enthusiasm for my project never ceased to rub off on me. I'm a relatively driven person, so I made it clear from the start that I would be doing most of the work. Thaddeus would be more of a support network and a personal cheerleader, and I wouldn't have wanted it any other way. It allowed me to practice the skill of taking initiative, which was amazing. I started with my service piece, which was leading the wrestling clinic. It was a great success with a good number of wonderful kids, and the camp went off without a hitch. I was impressed by the kids' enthusiasm and hard work. I love seeing young kids really enjoying themselves in the wrestling room. That was really the main goal of the project, get the kids to fall in love with the sport so that they can continue with it later in life. It was so much fun for me to see those kids being passionate about it. And it only added to that, taking into account that the proceeds of the camp were donated to the Intrepid Fallen Heroes Fund, which is where the proceeds will go to a family who has lost a loved one doing something heroic. And I'm so happy to announce that we raised over $700 for the fund. That was the first half of my project. Second half, I wanted to do skydiving for a number of reasons. One being, it was always sort of a bucket list thing. I feel like that's a common thing on a bucket list. The second being, I was always interested in military special forces and what their life was like. And I thought that skydiving would be a way to experience a small portion of their life. Scheduling was not difficult. All that needed was a quick phone call to set up the dates. I paid for everything over the phone, and I was set. When it came to the day of the jump, I was very excited and a little nervous. I had to drive about an hour away, meet some people I had never met, say hi to my instructor, put my life in his hands, go up about 5,000 feet, and then fall at about 120 miles an hour. But I made it there smoothly, and Thaddeus was there to greet me and support me on this fun occasion. I had to watch a short video and fill out some waivers so my family can't sue them if I died. Typical runway stuff. But all went smoothly, and I got suited up. We got in the plane, took off. We were in the air for about 15 minutes. The engine's really loud, so the instructor yells into my ear, "Okay, I got to make sure we're at the right place to jump, so you got to sit there for a little bit. It's going to give you a nice long time to think about your decision." You've already heard the next part, but I will tell you this. Looking out of an airplane and knowing you're about to fall out of it is a eerie and strangely sobering feeling. So yes, I didn't end up jumping out of an airplane. It was crazy. We fell for probably 40 seconds. It was an adrenaline pumping and intense experience. Total sensory overload. I mean, we were falling at 120 miles an hour. Instructor pulled the chute. It caught some air, and then we were floating. And the strange thing was, it was one of the most relaxing experiences I have ever had in my life. When you're up there, there are no birds, no people, no cars, nothing. Total and utter silence. And with that silence came a feeling of relaxation and peace. I was just doing this crazy, death-defying stunt, and then it switched to the other side of the spectrum, where I was at peace. We were up there for about a minute until we descended smoothly and came in for a landing. I unhooked my harness, and boy, did I feel good. My guess is it was mostly the adrenaline, but I would argue that I felt a sense of accomplishment. Skydiving, to say the least, is an intense experience. When you're looking at a 5,000-foot drop, your mind is going, okay, here we go, I'm going to do this. It's going to be scary, but we're going to do it. Your body replies, dude, no. So there were two major things that I was able to take away from Senior Project. The first for me was this experience of mind over body, being able to overcome primal instinct. It was a lot more than a search for an adrenaline rush. I really believe that there's a life lesson to be learned in skydiving, and it has to do with that concept of mind over body. Life hits you hard sometimes. You didn't ask for it, but it hits you anyway, and it can keep kicking you while you're down, and you can stay down there if you're not careful. I've experienced that. I think everyone has experienced that in some form or another. And the pitfall that we can stumble into is not doing anything about it. It's hard. It hurts. It can be painful to do something we don't want to do. And that's where it comes in. Your mind needs to tell your body, okay, we're doing this. We're going to jump out of this metaphorical airplane. And I don't care what you think. I'm in charge. The second lesson I learned from Senior Project was how to apply the Nike quote to anything. Just do it. Now, I'm not saying don't think and just act and all that stuff. No. What I'm saying is that when it comes to moments in your life when you're scared to make decisions or scared to start something, just do it. There were so many times in Senior Project that I did not feel like doing what I had to do. You know what really helped? Just doing it. There are so many wonderful life experiences just waiting to happen if you just do it. There were so many times while I was writing this speech and preparing this presentation that I didn't want to do anything. It's senior year. I'm about to graduate. I'm done. And you know what really helped me write this speech? Just doing it. Say this. Let's say you see a person across the room. You know them, but not that well. And they seem nice enough, so maybe you go over and talk to them. But maybe you're a little shy, or you think it'd be weird or awkward if you went over and started talking to this person. Just do it. Who knows? Who knows what amazing life experiences you could be missing out on by not going over and talking to that person? What if that person is your best friend waiting to happen? You'll never know if you don't do it. Just do it, and I guarantee your life will improve. These things are just like jumping out of an airplane. You get up to the edge, and you're scared, and you're not sure if things are going to be okay, and then you jump out, and your adrenaline's going, and things are going at 1,000,000 miles a minute, but then the parachute opens, and it's totally and utterly relaxing. Things in life that we are scared to do often have a way of playing out like that. The awesome thing is that this doesn't just relate to skydiving. They can relate to anything, and I found myself seeing them in my service piece as well. You better believe that this stuff is everywhere in wrestling. The sport is hard and grueling, but by far the best part about it is how much it teaches you about life. I encountered those life lessons through wrestling and through Senior Project, and I think those are so valuable. I wanted those kids that attended my wrestling clinic to be able to have those experiences in the future. That was one of the many reasons I was so pleased with my Senior Project. If there are only two things you can take away from this speech, let them be: 1, never forget that the mind is stronger than the body, and 2, just do it. Now, go live life, take Senior Project if you can, jump out of some metaphorical airplanes, jump out of some real airplanes, be a mentor, know that the mind is stronger than the body, and always remember to just do it. Thank you. Questions? Yes?
Would you like to become an instructor in skydiving?
Would I like to become an instructor? It was fun, but I don't know if I would like to dedicate that much of my time to doing it. It was more of just a one-time, really fun thing that, and it's expensive too, so that's a big part. Yeah?
Brayden, it sounded like from when you jumped out to when you hit the ground, it was only like 2 minutes.
It was the time that it took to fall out of an airplane and land on the ground was, it was probably about 3 minutes. So we fell probably like 2,000 feet, and that was probably about 40 seconds. And then he pulled the parachute, and you can fall pretty quickly with a parachute if you turn. When you turn the parachute, you lose altitude really quickly. So yeah, it probably took about 3 minutes. Yeah.
At what point did you most need your own advice to just do this? I mean, there's a lot of different steps along the way where you could freak out and chicken out and go the other way. Which was the one where you most needed that?
At what point did I need my own advice in the project? There were a ton of times, one of them mainly being in the morning. I had to wake up in the morning to go skydiving. I was like, I don't know. Just getting in the car and doing it, just driving there. Also, writing this speech was a big one. It's near the end of the year and getting ready to graduate, and it can be tough to get motivated at the end of the year. So, yes, in the back. What made me think of doing skydiving? Really, it was just I wanted to do something a little different in Senior Project. I had never seen anyone do something quite like that, something crazy like that. It was really appealing to me to be able to use the classroom, really, this school, as a way to do that. I thought that was really awesome. Yeah.
I remember you said that you wanted to do something that reminded you of an experience that someone in Special Forces might have had. Do you feel like you got that experience?
Do I feel like I got a small experience of Special Forces? Maybe in a small way. I know that it was. So I went up there, and it was probably like it was probably about 70 degrees. It was a clear day, but up there, it gets a lot colder. So I could see my breath in the airplane. And that would probably be the closest thing I got, because like when we were falling, it was so cold. It was ridiculously cold. I was kind of dressed right. I had jeans and like a jacket, but it was freezing. It was like, yeah. But that would be the closest thing, I guess. Yeah.
In what line of order in the plane were you sitting before it was your turn to go out? And how much time did you have in your head to say, just do it? How many times did you say, just getting to be that spot to jump out?
What order? What order I was in? I was the first one. I was the first one out. That's the thing. So the instructor was like, okay, we're the first ones out. So I sat there with my legs out of a plane for probably a minute, because the instructor's behind me and he has to look out to see if we're ready to jump yet. So I'm sitting there, wind blowing in my face, my legs like, you know. So I had a while to do it. And also, like, at that point, you don't have much of a choice, especially if you're sitting there on an airplane. They're like, okay, put your things so you don't grab on. He's like, okay, we're going to fall. You just did it. You just do it. Yeah.
Did any of your friends, did any of them want to go skydiving after you did, or did you talk them into it, or did they not because you did?
Did any of my friends want to do skydiving? Yeah, there were actually a couple that were like, dude, take me with you. But it would be a little difficult to do that. It can be hard to schedule sometimes and get, people have different schedules, especially now. Yeah, the one advice I would give to my friends or anyone if they're planning on doing it is pick a really, really warm day. Yeah.
Is there video?
No. So I was planning on taking video of my second jump, which was originally scheduled last weekend, but because of weather problems, I wasn't even allowed to do it. So it's a possibility that I could be taking video on the 21st. But there's a weird rule. You can't take cameras or anything or even a GoPro up unless you are certified. So yeah, I think it's something like 100 jumps that you need to be able to take something with you. You can pay the place, though, to film you, which is pretty expensive. So, yeah. I agree.